Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Today we're going to do a fun technique, Stampin' on some designer series paper. So today's card is a fun fall colored card, and you will never guess what paper this came from. So I'm excited to share that with you, but we're going to use some of our fall colors here. We've got our Blackberry Bliss, we've got some Pretty Peacock, and we've got our new Peach Pie. We're gonna do some blending and stamping and all kinds of fun on today's card. So the stamp sets that we're gonna be using and dies are the Unbounded Love and Flowers of Beauty. So Flowers of Beauty is a stamp set that is all images, and hey Lizzie! And then we have our Unbounded Love with all kinds of sentiments. So they pair perfect together. The Unbounded Love I had to have because of these dies. So I'm going to show you those in a second. And then the Flowers of Beauty are builder stamps. So you can use the outline of the flower and then stamp the detailed inside coloring. And then the same thing with these flowers and stems and the leaves. So tons of things that you can do with this. Let me share with you these dies. I know that I have received tons of comments that you love when I show you how the die is cut out and what they all do. So you can see there are so many frames. You can use these dies really with so many different sentiments, which I love, right? So that's great. This is the outline. So I die cut all of these so that you could see all the different outlined images. So like the ones that will die cut stamps and details, and then all of these great ones for labels. And then you can see how they actually cut here. So we've got the one we're going to use today is this scalloped oval. I love that one. There is this stitched rectangle with kind of some curved angles there. Then you can actually layer all of these pieces together. So this piece is the inside of here, right? So you could die cut this in maybe 2 different colors. You could stamp a sentiment on here and pop it up on dimensionals and have this in a different color for like a frame. This one here is the same size as this, so you could even stamp your sentiment on here and do this one in a different color and layer this and pop this one up for like a different frame. Same with these and these. So I kind of put the ones that went together next to each other. And then we have all of these other great labels here. So this one, you could use it as a frame. You could stamp on the inside and have this popped up. Same thing here. Great frames. These ones are all great for sentiments and even some smaller sentiments. And what's great is this Unbounded Love. There are so many choices here. It's a great sentiment stamp set because there's a lot of inside and outside sentiments that you can use. We're going to use a lot of these words today, but you know, you could put happy birthday, right, on the outside of the card, and then you could use one of the smaller sentiments to put on the inside, right? Like, or even one of the other ones, all kinds of things, but they all build together, which is great. You know, you've got hope, love, and faith. And then, you know, hope is believing in a brighter tomorrow. Love never gives up. Peace makes the world a better place. You're a true blessing. You've got this. It's such an encouragement stamp set. Have a blessed day with sympathy. I mean, it's totally all occasions. So it is great for so many things. Okay. Lizzie, are you oboing these dies? I mean, aren't they way cute? There's so many possibilities with these. So I really love them and hope you love seeing them all die cut out, because sometimes you can't always tell just looking at the dies what they do, right? Or the possibilities with them. So I love being able to show you that as well. Okay, so let's get started. These are not my typical colors because we're moving into fall. You know, I am a brights and pastels girl. That's probably my favorite and my comfort zone, but I am trying to make sure that I use all kinds of colors to show A, a variance, B, to, you know, appeal to everybody here. And since we're moving into fall, it's a great time to bring out some of those regals and neutrals, right? And I often am not in those color families, and so this was a great opportunity to do that. So along with that Unbounded Love, one of my favorite papers is these beautiful subtles and brights and in colors that we have in this Unbounded Beauty paper. I mean, you can just see all the pinks and the summer splash and the petunia pop purples. I mean, aren't they just gorgeous and beautiful? So I used one of these papers today, and the technique that we're going to use is stamping on our designer series patterned paper. So this is the paper on one side, so beautiful, but on the other side is our peach pie. And so when I was thinking of fall colors, right, we think of oranges and browns and all of those kind of things. And so peach pie is kind of the lighter version of that, right? So I took a piece of this paper and I cut it just in half. So we're working with just a 6x12 here. And we are going to actually be able to create 3 cards at one time. So some of you may have heard it called One Sheet Wonder. And we typically do that like on a piece of white cardstock. We stamp it, cut it all up, and use it on our cards. But today we're going to stamp actually directly onto the designer series patterned paper. So let's get started on today's fun. And we're going to see this paper totally transform. So we're going to start with some pretty peacock. And remember all of the measurements, the step-by-step instructions, the whole supply list, everything for today's card. If you're part of my free mailing list, I call it my Buzz Bulletin, you will get all the directions this week sent right to your mailbox, so you can still subscribe. Or you can go on to my blog at stampinqueenbee.com, and it will be uploaded there after today's video. Okay, so we're just gonna ink this up. This is the pretty peacock and our beautiful green foliage here. And so we are just gonna take our DSP here and just, no right or wrong reason, no rhyme, no reason, right? We're just gonna kind of go all around here. Yes, multiple cards are best, Lizzie. I'm so excited I could see the comments today. They didn't always work, right? But I love doing multiple at once, right? It gets, it's time good. Not time consuming, but good time management, right? That's what I was looking for. It's funny, sometimes it's hard to stamp and talk, right? Okay, we'll just do a couple of these off. Perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna put Pretty Peacock to the side, and now we're gonna bring in some Blackberry Bliss. So this is a great fall color. If you love purple, Blackberry Bliss to me is like the fall purple, right? Because it's a deep, great for Christmas too. But it's just that really deep, rich purple. And so for this one, we're going to use that bigger outline of the flower from that set. And we're just going to stamp this all around. Just kind of filling in, twisting our stamp, twisting our paper, doing a couple that are stamped off the paper. Just kind of all around here. We're almost creating our own designer paper on our designer paper. Double DSP here, right? Okay, let's see if we want any more. I think that might be good. Okay, so then for a third color, we're gonna bring in some gray granite. It's just a really good neutral. This gray, we have a couple grays, but this one kind of picks up the different tones, right? Depending on what other colors you're using. So for this one, same thing. We're just gonna go kind of all around here. So we're just building, 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 almost kind of like a collage card. You can overlap them a bit. Okay, so I'll put that to the side. We're gonna stay with our gray granite here. And now we're gonna do some words. So with that Unbounded Love set, we have all of these great words. So today we're just making a fun encouragement card. Really could use for any occasion, right? Or celebrating someone. So for this one, we're starting with "You've got this." So I love on collage cards how they have kind of lighter words throughout. So that's kind of the look we are creating with this, right? And who couldn't use some encouragement? Okay, so we might come back with some of these, but then we're also going to use "friend," same color. So "You've got this, friend," right? Or "Friend, you've got this." And we're so close. Thank you all for liking and subscribing these videos each week, turning on your notifications. It absolutely helps me and I totally appreciate it. We are super close to hitting 500 subscribers. Last time that I looked, I think we were one away. So share this with your friends because I know we can get there. And once we do, I'm going to be doing a fun giveaway for all the subscribers. So we will do a fun prize patrol giveaway just to celebrate you and share my thanks. So now this is "Never Give Up." So "Friend, you've got this." Never give up, right? Never give up. So we're just stamping this all around. You could turn your page. For the words, I like to keep them all the same direction, right? So that we can read them when they're on the card, right? One sheet wonders and stamping and doing all that, it's so fun. So I already cut the other pieces and we'll cut this one here in a second, but we've got our base. So our base for this is Pretty Peacock. It's our regular card base. I'm gonna bring in some liquid glue here, and I've got a piece of that Blackberry Bliss that we used in our flowers. And we're just gonna glue this right on to our card front. Center that on. Easy peasy, right? Okay, so we'll put that aside. And then one more thing we're gonna do before we cut our paper up here is just to give it a little bit more fun. I'm gonna bring in my small blending brush in Blackberry Bliss. We're gonna bring in our ink pad with this, and we're just gonna get a tiny bit on there. I don't wash mine. The more you use them, the better they blend, and the less ink that you use over time, right? So we'll just make sure that that is off, and then wherever these bigger flowers are, I'm just gonna go kind of in a light-handed circular motion and just give them a little bit of that softer, and notice I'm not staying in the lines, I'm kind of going out, giving that kind of softer effect. gonna bring in some more of that deeper purple. Like, look at the difference from the side without it to the side with it, right? It just gives it a little bit of that softer look. So we'll just do that on all these bigger flowers. Need a little more ink, you can. Couple more here. Beautiful. You know, fall doesn't always have to be orange and brown, right? It can be just some of these deeper neutral and regal colors that maybe we don't use the rest of the year, right? I know a lot of you like brights and subtles like me, and so we gotta extra make sure that we pull out some of those colors that we don't always use often, right? Okay, so now we are gonna take this stamped paper. I'm gonna bring in my trimmer here, and we actually could get 3 cards from this. So we are gonna first cut this at 5 inches. So we're doing this on purpose to have these extra pieces. I'm gonna show you how we're gonna use those. And then we're gonna cut at 3 3/4. And all these measurements will be on everything, just like always. And 3 3/4. So now we have 3 pieces to use as part of our card fronts. They all look so different, right? Depending on where everything is placed. And then we have these pieces that we're actually gonna use on the inside of our card. So I'm just gonna cut a few of these just to show you some kind of different variations that we can use for these. That one we'll keep like that. Okay, so now we're gonna take one of these. So I think we'll use this middle one today. And then I'll make 2 other cards with those later. And we'll bring back in our base here and our liquid glue. See, even this would look pretty on the front, just like so, right? But who would have thought that that would be the same thing? Not I, that is for sure. So we're just gonna add a bit of liquid glue here. And center that right on there. How beautiful, right? Okay, so then we're gonna bring in one of those beautiful die cuts that I shared with you in the beginning. Yes, Lizzie, time to stamp. And for this, we're gonna use some of that pretty peacock. And for the front, we're gonna do May All Your Wishes Come True, right? Goes perfectly with Never Give Up, Friend, You've Got This. And we're just gonna center that right on there. You could take your blending brush and blend a little bit if you wanted to add a little bit onto there. We're not gonna today, but you absolutely could. And then I'm gonna bring in, this is Very Vanilla that I die cut this out of. So I'm gonna take a piece of Very Vanilla for the inside here. And before we do that, this is where these extra pieces, nothing gets wasted. So we can take these and go right along the bottom or the top. We can take this longer piece and kind of center it and do a little bit of a border on the right or on the left. I mean, so many options, right? Kind of like that. So let's do that one today. So we'll just add a bit of liquid glue. No waste on these. And it absolutely matches since we did all that stamping. You don't have to worry about stamping this to match. And look, Friend is totally centered right on there. Perfect. Couldn't have planned that more perfect, right? Add a little bit of liquid glue, put that on the inside. How beautiful, right? And easy peasy. So there's our card base. We're gonna use some dimensionals to put this on, and then of course we're gonna add some embellishments, but first we're gonna add a little bit of ribbon. So this is one of the most beautiful ribbons. It is metallic. That's probably why I like it, because it's all kinds of sparkle. And it is that pretty peacock. So it's like pretty peacock and gold. So we're gonna use a bit of this. I'm gonna bring in some Stampin' Seal Plus. So this is kind of how I like to adhere this. So let's first decide where we're gonna put our sentiment. So you could really put it anywhere on here, right? So I'm thinking, what are we thinking? Let's just kind of center this one, right? Okay, so I'm gonna take a strip of my Stampin' Seal Plus. I like the Plus because it's stronger. And so I don't know if you can see it, but there is a clear line kind of right there. So I like to do that first, and then take my, you can see where it's sticky, right? And then I'm gonna take my ribbon, and this is what's gonna hold it kind of while I decide where I want it. I'm just gonna flip it around. And we're just gonna do kind of like an N, like a little zigzag here. So the Stampin' Seal holds it down. And I've got my scissors I use for ribbon here. So we'll just give that a little trim. And then on the back of my sentiment here, that's where I'll go ahead and add my dimensionals. So we'll just stick a few of those right on here. Peel off the backs. And we're just gonna stick this right over our ribbon. So the ribbon's being held kind of two ways, right? It's being held by the Stampin' Seal that's underneath, and then the dimensionals on top hold that right down. And there's our ribbon, right? Sometimes you don't want to tie a bow, so that's a great way to use your ribbon. And I just make it into that N, or a Z if you turn it on its side, right? And there's our card. So of course it needs bling. Let me bring in my Take Your Pick tool, and the gems we're using today are the foiled gems, and so they match perfectly with this ribbon and with these colors. This is the Pretty Peacock and Petal Pink. I mean, we could even do that in here. So let's do some of these darker ones. Just do a couple here. And then maybe one in the middle of our sentiment. And there you have it. That is our quick and easy Stampin' on some designer paper, the patterned paper, to create our own like double patterned paper, right? Isn't it beautiful? Such a great fall card. May all your wishes come true. And of course, so I did this card for us today that I wanted us to share, but I also made the flip-flop version. So because we have Pretty Peacock, the Blackberry Bliss, and Peach Pie, I did the version with Peach Pie, did my ribbon a little bit different with a bow, used the rectangle die cut from the same set, but this is the same paper and stamping. I just flip-flopped and used the Pretty Peacock as the layer, and as the base, I used the Peach Pie. So see, it brightens it up a bit, and then use that same paper right along the bottom, the scraps, right with that. And then I did the opposite of that one, which is with the Blackberry Bliss as the base with some Peach Pie as the layer. And then this one I cut differently so it opens wide, and then put that piece on the inside. So you can see it's the same card, the same paper. You'll get 3 out of a half sheet. So you'll have those extra ones that I'll make 2 more cards, right? So you'll actually, from a whole sheet of designer paper, if you stamped the whole thing, you could actually get 6 cards out of 1 sheet, plus all of the inside pieces that you would use like that, and have no waste on your paper. Isn't that fun? So I hope you will grab a piece of DSP, start stamping on it, create your own backgrounds. Now that summer is almost over officially, I know school started for us, that we can get into our fall and holiday cards and sending those out to all the people that we love. So thanks so much for subscribing, liking, watching today's video, sharing it with your friends. And I will see you guys next week, and hopefully we will have hit our goal, and I'll be able to do our Prize Patrol giveaways on our video next week or even before. So thanks so much, everyone, and I will talk to you soon.